Good morning, Carlos.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm very well, sir. Lovely to see you on a Thursday morning. And if we should start now, I'll share this with you first, Carlos. I think a lot of fans, maybe I'm guilty of this as well, are already visualizing Wembley. How dangerous is that for us, but also perhaps for the squad and the staff, thinking about Wembley rather than Luton?
No chance for us. This is something that is not in our minds. We know that we are going to play with Luton, a very, very strong and competitive team, 180 minutes. And we need to know that to make this dream happen, we need to perform in our best level, like I told you, in 2 games on 90 minutes. So in our minds, there is any type of possibility to be thinking in the future more than to be thinking now in the present. But not because we say this, it's because it's true. When you analyze teams, for example, that we could have played in the playoff, we could have played with Nottingham Forest, Sheffield United, and Luton. The only team that we didn't win playing away was Luton. This is one, for example. This is one key example. If you analyze the result of Luton playing at home against the best 5 teams in front of them in the championship, any team have beat them playing at home. So I know how difficult is the game. My players know exactly the same, and we know that if we want to have any type of possibility to be on Wembley, we need to perform tomorrow and the next game in our best level.
Honestly, Carlos, was Luton your preferred opponent in the playoff semi-final?
I didn't have any type of favorite. I didn't saw the results. I just was very, very focused to beat Bristol in the first step, to give the minutes for me that every player was needed the minutes. And after any team, I know that any team will be very, very difficult team to beat.
Do you see the job that you need to do against Luton as 2 halves of a very long double game, or do you see it as 2 matches in isolation?
I think we need to be watching 2 matches in isolation, knowing that both games are connected. This is a little bit different. For example, the things that many teams that, for example, is not the case that is going to happen. But if one team is 3-0 one game, they can relax the last 15 minutes, because if they concede 1 goal or 2 goals, are not going to put the result on risk. No, at the end you are going to win the 3 points. In this type of team, no. The difference for me is that the concentration needs to be highest than in a league team, because every small detail in the first leg can affect the result at the end in the full result of the 180 minutes game.
Is it possible to give yourselves a very big advantage by going and winning the tie away at Luton? Do you take for granted a home advantage in the second leg, or is it not quite that simple?
It's not quite as simple as this, of course, no. For me, the only important thing is we have tomorrow the possibility to perform during 90 minutes, and this is exactly what we have to try to do, perform really well during 90 minutes, knowing the context of the game. Luton pitch is different. These pitch have different measures. They play in one very clear style, and we need to be to the needs of the game.
That's interesting to hear you talk about the pitch. The stadium is very different, perhaps a little old-fashioned. Many people prefer it. Are you saying that the pitch dimensions are specific and smaller, or how is it down there?
If you compare the dimensions with our pitch, that is one of the bigger ones, our stadium, with their stadium at different measures, and these things, plus with the idea that they have, change the context of the game and increase the competitiveness of the game, because every ball can be long ball to your box, every throwing can be long throw into your box, the number of set pieces are going to increase. So for me, are going to be these type of aspects that we are managing, because we know that tomorrow is going to be this type of game.
Individually, in terms of their collective spirit, how have you found Luton as an opponent this season?
They are, for me, in the position that they have achieved, because they deserve to be in the playoff, because they have been a very competitive team. If we analyze the result that I told you, when they were playing with the teams that Bournemouth, Fulham, with us, with Nottingham Forest, or with Sheffield, they didn't lose any type of these games playing at home. So it means how competitive team they are during all the season.
You are always very measured, logical in what you explain to us, Carlos, but the emotion of the possibility of taking your team to Wembley is surely something that you must have thought briefly about.
You know what happened? That is something my mind, for me, the mind of the players has to be focused in the things that we can control. Now, this is something that you can have the target, or you can, of course, this is our desire to be in Wembley, but it's going to be the same desire at Luton, the same desire at Sheffield, or Nottingham Forest. All the teams wants to be there, but this is something that cannot make difference. What can make difference is how concentrated we are, how ready we are to show all our skills to can achieve a positive result of this leg of the playoff.
I'm just trying to think as we talk about your own experience of the playoffs and knockout, sudden death football, or a great prize of a playoff final at the end. I can't remember you having a playoff experience at Leeds United, did you? What about with your other clubs before that?
Yes, I had in my first year with the first team of the United. We were playing against Derby County, and
of course
we were eliminated in that game.
Sorry to remind you, and I didn't mean to. How did you find that?
That sometimes you learn a lot, or sometimes you learn even more when the things are not working well than when the things work perfectly.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of control of emotions, how different the dimension to the job that you do is that?
By myself, it's totally different because it's not the same to be assistant coach and to be head coach. The level of responsibilities, the impact of your decision, of course, are not the same one. As assistant coach, you can support. It would be necessary to support. As a head coach, just totally the opposite, because you are making the decisions based in how you see your team. So the work is different. But at the end, tomorrow we are going to play a football game. We have been playing many football games during this season too.
And the experience levels of the team that you manage, I mean, there are some quite senior experienced players in there with plenty of playoff experience. How helpful is that?
Pues hopefully these things can help the team to manage these type of situations, because it's true that player like Hoggy was having a playoff situation, Tom these two, even in League One, Turton was playing the last year, and Rufus too, having experience in the playoff. And I think it's important to have this experience to face, maybe to learn from this previous experience, if you were working well, if the things didn't work well, how to manage. But sometimes this is, at the end, the basic is football game, and every player have been playing football games, and tomorrow we are going to play a football game. And for me, the high difference that tomorrow is going to be in different stadium with different opponent that is going to try to make his style, and we will try to show our style, football. Great.
Could you update us finally on injuries from me? Tell us about O'Brien and the players that you've been missing. People are still wondering whether Sorba Thomas is going to come back this season. Give us the injury list as it stands.
I think the situation is positive with the squad. We are going to make one training more today. That for me is going to allow me to see which players can be available. O'Brien is going to make the training. If O'Brien training well, will be available. If O'Brien is not training well because he feels the problem, so I will make the decision that we did the previous week. Sorba Thomas is going to make today the training. Matty Pearson is going to make today the training. They are going to training, but of course it's a long time without training with the group. But it's important that these karates are close to the team right now.
Thank you, Carlos. That's all from me.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Hoggy. Stephen Chicken, we'll come to you.
Hi, Carlos. Sticking with the injuries, how are Sorba and Matty doing? Are they? Is there any possibility they might be able to start tomorrow?
No chance, because at the end, like, they have been a long-term injury. But the fact that they are working, they were doing half of the previous session with the team, and if they complete the session today, is something positive, because it's that they are in a good way of their recovery.
It's a positive, isn't it? Because you're going to need as many players as you can get going into these games, all the options you can get.
Yes, unfortunately, only with 16 players, pitch players, and 2 keepers.
That's it, isn't it? I mean, what do you think are the keys to winning over these 2 legs?
I think if I need to analyze game by game, because the only one that we can face now is the tomorrow one. And tomorrow, like I told you, the context of the game is going to be a specific context of the game. We can imagine how the game is going to develop, because we were playing with them at home, and they are one team with a very clear style. One style that the style that has helped them to be in the position that they have right now, or they have finished in the season right now. So it's clear that the game is going to be very tough, very demanding, very strong, very, very strong. with many challenges in the pitch, with many competitive situation, and this is what exactly I expect.
When you're preparing for a game like this, does it make it harder or different when you've played them twice in a season already?
No, it's just I think they know us better, and we know them better because we have faced 2 games, and this is the 3rd time that we are going to face together. And I think they will know what we are going to try to do. We know what they are going to try to do, and this which team is better than the other one.
Have you been practicing penalties at all ahead of Monday?
Monday is still far, but we always go with our routines of training to that always we do, but not only the penalties of free situation that we always work, that we try to work regularly. We don't try to work some situations just when the moment can appear, because I think it's too late to face something just when you are in front of the situation.
Come into the playoffs in excellent form. Obviously, you finished 3rd. Do you feel like you are the team to beat in these playoffs? No,
I think every team is going to try to beat the team that is going to play against. I think the position in the table only was great. The only important of the position in the table was to know the opponent that you are going to play, to decide, to don't make any draw, just to know that the 3rd is going to play with the 6, the 4 with the 5, home, away. But that's all. For me, the season is done. The regular season is over, and now this is something different. And the position in the table doesn't mean any type of thing for any type of the 4 teams that we are playing now, the playoff.
Yeah, I think that's all from me. I know there's plenty of people still to come, but best of luck tomorrow, Carlos.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Steve.
Cheers.
Leon Wobshaw, we'll come to you. Thanks.
Good morning, Carlos.
Morning, Leon.
Hi. This playoff tie, I did the Sheffield Wednesday, Sunderland. And it was very fine margins. A couple of mistakes decided the tie. Do you think this one could be similar? It could be just a couple of moments could potentially decide it.
No idea. Because I cannot tell you this. I expect one very tough games or 2 very tough games against 2 teams that they are similar in the level and both trying to compete in with the different idea that they have developed during the season. But I don't find any team in the championship with high level of now in the playoff with differences between them. I expect, of course, a very tough and very demanding game. But this is what I expect, and this is what I know that is going to happen. Because I know very well, I have analyzed Luton. I have been watching them before we play with us against another opponent. They have made a fantastic season. But everything, like I always say, is have to be focused in us to know which type of contest we are going to face and to try to show our best skills tomorrow. That is the first game that we can control.
With your experiences in the playoffs with your previous club, it's important after the first game not to get too carried away, whether it goes well or whether it doesn't go well. Because I remember the Leeds game, they won the first leg and then they lost the second. So
yes,
you've got to stay,
Yes, 100%, because we know that the game is 180 minutes. What happened in the first 90 are going to affect the second 90, but the first 90 are not going to determine at the end the last result, because the game is at least 180 and sometimes can be extended more.
And I was going to just ask you about the playoffs. Obviously, from a watching point of view, from your time in Spain and everything, did you watch these matches before when you were overseas? And it's a big part of the football calendar, isn't it?
Yes, it's a special moment of the competition when you achieve to be in this type of positions. Of course, you are watching this type of double games in the Championship and the Euro games, or in the international competition, you have this type of situations too, or before in some rounds of the cups too. But of course, the playoff is a special moment because it means that you have been doing the things well during the season. No excellent, because the 2 teams that were doing the things excellent are now in the Premier League, Fulham and Bournemouth. but the teams that have doing the things really, really well had the opportunity to face for this option too. And for me, this is it means a lot, and it's a very special moment that we are going to try to face, being focused in the things that we can control, that is to perform well in the football pitch.
And just finally, did you watch when Huddersfield won in the playoffs in 2016-17? Did you watch that as an interested football person and a spectator?
But I didn't watch on live. I was watching after, because when I arrived to Huddersfield, I wanted to know the difference between the teams that were playing there, with the moment that when I was start to work, for example, with play like a Schindler, that with Hoggy, I wanted to be watching them when they were living this type of moments, and I was following these games, and I know how tough was the games, but for me, Huddersfield was playing with a very good mentality.
Thank you, Carlos, and good luck. It goes without saying. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Leon. Alfie Burns, we'll come to you.
Hi, Carlos. How are you doing?
Very good. Thank you so much.
Good stuff. Just one thing I wanted to ask you about in particular. Your players often talk about how you push them and they pride themselves on their fitness. How key do you think that fitness is going to be across 2 games against Luton in quick succession?
I totally agree with you that the fact that you are going to play after the first game in just 2 days between the next game is going to, in the second game, these things, the physical thing is going to be, for me, more important than it's going to be right now in the first leg. So right now, for me, both teams have been less than 1 week, but 6 days to prepare that game, and will be different, because it's true that both teams play on the night, with a travel for them, with a travel for us after the game. So it's true that for me, in the second game, this detail is going to be more decisive than maybe in the first leg.
And how important was it then to get sort of match minutes into the legs of some of those fringe players against Bristol City?
I think one of the targets that I wanted to have is like one of the targets that at the end we have achieved is that every of the players that are available right now have played at least one of the last 5 games. Because for me, it's always important to can compete, to have the minutes in the legs. Because for me, always to have been competitive, when you have been playing, you are going to be more ready to compete in the next games. So for me, we have now, I think it's 22 players that have been playing at least one of the last 5 games. And with this, for me, is positive, because every player that now is going to play because the team need, or I think that they are the best possibility, he's the best possibility to play. For me, is ready from this point of view, because they have been a lot of time without being playing.
And finally, from me, do you see similarities between Huddersfield and Luton and the journey that both clubs have been on this season, sort of underdogs coming into the playoffs?
Maybe, I think so. Being honest, I think so, because maybe nobody was, or the people from out. I don't know what the coach of Luton was thinking or what I was thinking. I know how much I believe in my team. I think the Luton coach is someone that have showed that he was believing and trust a lot in his squad too. But maybe for the people out here, anybody maybe was expected to have these 2 teams in the playoff. So I can be watching relation in this type of possibility.
Brilliant. Thanks for your time, Carlos.
You're welcome.
Alfie. Arif, thanks for your patience. We'll come to you.
Hi, Carlos. I was just wondering your thoughts on the playoffs. Huddersfield finished 3rd in the table, so naturally you'd think you deserve to go up, but you have to go through 4, 5, and 6 they've still got the chance to go above you and get to the Premier League.
For me, what we have deserved is to have the opportunity now to have the playoff. That's all. And finish 3rd, 4th, or 5th, 5th, or 6th in the table. At the end, just create the different opponent that you're going to play in the day that you are going to play. That's all. For me, what we have deserved is to have this opportunity. We didn't deserve to be in the Premier League. The 2 teams that have deserved to be in the Premier League are now in the Premier League. We have deserved to have this. For us, this is a dream that we are going to give and to play with our highest level of determination, because it's a special moment and we want, of course, to keep going in the playoff.
And obviously, 2-legged game. Is it a benefit to be away first, so the second leg is at home, your pitch, your more fans, and these games, can turn on such little fine margins?
yes, it's true that for me the 5 matches can be decisive, but I don't see that there is a big advantage. I think is what it is. We are going to play there first, and after at home. Now, for me, the game is more equal because as soon as there is no double, the goal when you score at home or away is the same. The value of the goal is the same one. For me, this have made that the competition of the difference between the two games is less.
And obviously, playoff games can be more emotional, more chaotic than the normal games. Will there be that conversation with the players to maybe focus and use their head maybe that bit more than normal?
Yes, I think we need to go to the game knowing that we are going to play a football game and knowing how intense the game is going to be and being ready to face this intensity and to show our personality. That's all, because at the end, like I told you, it's a 90-minute game, a football game.
Thanks, Carlos. Good luck.
That's the Gareth. Jason Mellor, good morning. That went well. We'll go to you, Gary Carter, since I'm getting ignored.
I do talk. Hi, Carlos, you okay?
Yes, thank you so much.
How much of an inspiration to other clubs is a club like Luton, which seems to be making the most out of what it has, rather than worrying about what it hasn't got?
I don't understand the question, sorry.
How much of an example is what a club like Luton do, because they make the most of what they have rather than worry and moan about what they haven't got? How much of an inspiration can that be to other clubs?
I don't know the inspiration in this type. For me, we need to be our own inspiration, trying to give the best of ourselves. And of course, Luton, we know that they are in the position that they are because they have done an exceptional season, exactly like any of the teams that we are playing now, the playoff. So, but for me, the inspiration or the mentality have to be to keep going with the same ideas, the same principles that we are playing, being focused on ourselves, being very concentrated to game by game, and knowing that what we do in the pitch is going to be the key of the difference between the success or no success. And
as a fellow manager, do you sort of appreciate the job that Nathan Jones has done at Luton?
For me, he has done an excellent job. He is the manager of the season, I think, of the league, and very well deserved. And we know that we are going to play tomorrow against a very good team and against a very good coach.
It can be interesting in the dugouts, can't it? Because Nathan isn't exactly backwards in coming forwards in saying what he thinks.
Sorry?
He's honest in terms of what he says.
Yeah. I think he's someone very honest, someone that has been doing an amazing job in Luton. If I don't have a bad memory, in 2 times, no, because he was Luton after he was Stoke City. He came back against Luton. He was taking the team in the first season in a very complicated relegated position. He was keeping the team in the championship, and after this, he only has put the team every time in a better position, and now they have achieved the playoffs. So for me, he deserves all the credit as a top coach because he can make a top job.
Thank you very much, Carlos. Much appreciated.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Gary. Sonny, thanks for your patience. We'll come to you.
Hi, Carlos.
Hello.
These sorts of games, in the playoffs, everybody wants to be involved in them, the players. How hard is it selecting a team and keeping those happy, and so how do you manage the disappointment of others?
I think all the squad know that I will go tomorrow with all my players to the game. I will go with all my players to the bench, and I will be full of confidence any player who play in the football pitch. So this is something that they know. But unfortunately, some of my work is to make sometimes even unfair decisions because I need to select players and I need to leave at home players that they perfectly could play as a first 11 players in the football pitch because they have been doing this before. And because some of the players, they were competing really well when they were in the first 11, now we have achieved this possibility. So for me, all my squad is part of this achievement, and I will be full of confidence with any of my players playing the first 11 tomorrow.
And obviously, you're unbeaten against Luton this year. Obviously, drew away 0-0, beat them at home, 2 clean sheets. Do you think your side has the psychological advantage going into the tie?
No, because for me, what we have done in the season doesn't mean sense or is not going to have an impact about what is going to happen tomorrow. For me, the playoff is just different. The season just has helped us to be in this type of situation now, play the playoff, but now the playoff is just total different game.
And how has preparation been different going from the regular season to this? Has it been different, or have you tried to keep it as normal as possible?
As normal as possible, making exactly the same things that we are doing all the year, because at the end we are going to face one football game and we want to face in the same way, or we want to prepare or be ready for that game in the same way that we have been doing all the season.
Cheers, Carlos, and good luck.
Welcome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sonny. Justin, are you there, mate? So that was a no. Okay. Just to check, I think that's everyone. Have I missed everyone? Just going through the thing. Oh, Jude, sorry. I've just seen you on the end there. Have you got anything to add?
Sorry, using the missus thing this morning. Morning, Carlos. How are you doing?
Morning.
Given John Russell was up before, I just wondered how much you think he's improved and matured as a player since he's moved from Accrington to come to you.
I think a lot, because the expectation with him were not to have a first team player for this season. We bring to the club to develop him as a player, but with time to do it. But for me, he has accelerated a lot this develop, and he's showing right now that he's one player that can help a lot the first team to compete. That's why he's playing many games in a row in the first 11, and that's why he's been an important player in the second part of the season.
He described himself as Mr. Cool, quite a calm head. He's someone that could be a big help for you in pressure situations.
I think he's a player with a high level of personality, very calm, that help the team to come. He is one player that for me can help a lot the team to dominate better the ball into attack more.
Just one final one. It's obviously a good pedigree coming from Chelsea. What can he achieve in the game?
What he can what?
What's his ceiling? How far can he go?
How far?
How far? Everything is going to depend about himself, because for me he has the conditions to make a career, but he's doing the career. For me, the fact that he's playing right now in the Championship in one club like Huddersfield has to mean a lot for him, because it's very important to be right now with his age in one big club playing an important games.
Thank you, Carlos. Good luck tomorrow. Thank you.